that I even have.
Okay, just getting set up here, making sure the camera's kind of aimed. I wish I could do it live the other direction, but sorry, it's the best I can do. It should be starting in just a minute.
You think this is supposed to make it to your mailbox today?
I know that he's still having issues. He came in today.
I can't read the rest of them either, but I found it in my mailbox today.
On the here, so I'm supposed to help him today.
Flashback when I came in my office and had the same problem.
No, his is, yeah, I don't know what his is doing. They're different issues, but yeah, it's weird.
Still not a good fan of Microsoft.
I think she's willing to work.
Well, I'll just say, all the other
I prefer Microsoft as a platform, but some of the services that it offers are serious.
Well, some of them, are crazy. I tried to use it, because government was defaulting out.
She finally get a job. My college uses it too. That's how I got it before I had it here. I started now over WG.
Corey's budget is for sure.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, that's actually like, she still has time.
Yeah, Jason's gonna be a little bit late.
No, like you have your conversation. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't mind either way. If you guys wanna give him a few, then that's fine.
Is the guy that there? And one of them came in.
No, I just saw him because I stopped there.
No.
Swan sand.
So, well, hold on. So this guy, I come in and he's really sick. Sat down.
We're waiting.
And he came in and he was sitting at the table, right? He was looking down. I didn't know. See the table? Yeah, he looks at his phone.
I did the time. Did you guys get anything nice done in this weather? No? Oh, there you go.
Camping.
We made the best of the bad situation. We put the back out on Friday and just started driving back through there. The sunshine going, how can I make dinner and not have to get up a bunch of times? So I sat in a chair in the kitchen at the island and put together a taco seasoning and some chicken breast to make some chicken tacos at home tonight for dinner. And my wife cut up all the vegetables for us. But it was just I was like, put it on the smoker, I'm gonna get it like twice to check on it, and that's perfect.
And the good news is you didn't fall down the stairs.
No.
So you haven't knocked yourself out of your house.
That's a big win.
Because we all know, like, we all know this when you're actually talking.
Yeah. Well, right, I mean, like, they have this, how many minutes it process to have to bring somebody on staff. These are with that work, added to somebody's work. Those kind of things.
Or no, my phone rang, and I picked it up, and it's, candidate number 4. He sounds like just woke up, and he's like, I mixed you guys up with another city. He's like,
Our people are passing this code.
Yeah.
I said, okay, well,
I was like, man, I didn't want to encounter.
anyway, I was like, emailing him, and you would go to level 3, and our last one, and actually, like, it was just a shit show today. Everybody ended up showing up, it was fine. So I had to go to the car center, so that's what I missed the first 2. Derek, maximum,
here from
So
Moldova.
Marches,
He was too.
front page on.
Does he probably does. He probably does.
And I mean, if this is true.
What's that? He said, things are spicy over there, so I have no desire to go back. Spicy. I don't know original, he said, I don't remember. He ended up in Nevada.
No, that's not.
No, that's it. He was in Nevada, got hired by.
Okay.
You should be ready.
Well, I'll be sure to slow clap when
Now
it shows up,
live,
so.
some of the fire.
It's your guys' meeting.
Fire department?
We're gonna go ahead and get started. Public Utilities meeting. Jason's gonna be just a few minutes late. He should be here anytime. What we were discussing was, Councilmember Smith's, suggestion of changing up the, utility discount program. So, we brought some good ideas forward. Dave, you wanna touch on your work?
I sent an email out to the committee and basically asked a bunch of questions for us to discuss and a couple of questions for the city before it was nice enough to answer me back on a couple of them. Pointed out that I had a wrong RCW in some of my background notes, which is no problem. And I asked her specifically what it would cost in lost revenue if 300 citizens took advantage of a 20% utility discount. Once again, just to remind the committee, with no age restriction. So, I think your answer was, did 21,000?
$25,156.
Okay, so that's it, 300 people, and I think currently taking advantage of the senior discount, we've got like 150 people.
135.
Okay. So, once again, my goal is to see if we can come up with something that makes sense to offer to the council to have an up or down vote as to whether or not we put it to the brain trust, if we can maybe schedule a public hearing, if we get past the brain trust section, and we get the rest of the council in here to put input in, and pass a motion which would include a public hearing, because as was pointed out in one of our previous committee meetings, is that there is a method for paying for these discounts based on upcharging other people who don't take advantage of the thing. And as I said before, I would like to see if we could sell a property, sell some trees, sell my boat, do something else from the city, out of the general fund. And one of the questions I asked that I didn't get an answer to is, are we running a deficit government in the city?
No.
Okay.
Currently, no.
We're close?
Well, it depends on which fund, so I mean,
Okay.
it's,
So that the funds that we would want to balance.
and I didn't see that question, I apologize, so.
Well, now I'm not sure I sent it or was.
I only saw the one question, that's what, so I apologize, I tried to answer all.
Okay. That might have been when I was verbalizing really, really hard in my brain for the meeting, Denise, so. That's the summary. What I've got, trying to get to everybody here, and of course, I went on the City of Raymond's website and looked at their application and have a copy of it here with their discounts. And like I think you said at the last meeting last month. Who knows if it's gonna work, who knows, you know, what's gonna happen, but there's local precedent to look at here. And this is a non-age restriction application from the city of Raymond. Right?
I believe their rates are significantly higher than ours.
You mean the utility rate generally? I didn't see that, and I know their discounts were a lot deeper than what we're proposing, but I'm not sure I know what numbers to throw out. Once again, I'm hoping that the committee will, vote to move this to the council so that more experienced people, either Stephen Cavallos and Brandon Collins, and, other people chiming in on it.
Brian's not here, but would it be beneficial for us to have a, meeting similar to what we had for the, for our, zoning? To just have a workshop, something to discuss more? I don't know if that would be feasible, or if we just wanna bring it to the council in general and just have the discussions.
Caleb, you got anything? What do you think about that suggestion? I don't know.
I mean, I don't mind the idea of a workshop if we want everybody to come in here and discuss it. I'll be frank that I don't think that $21,500 is a big number or a scary one for a budget that's looking for much larger sums elsewhere for things.
Is that utilities, are we on budget with utilities with the water, sewer, stormwater fund, all of that, is it, what's the budget look like on that?
The guesstimate off the top of my head is yes.
Yes, we got it.
The one that Inez here said that we were in the black, that I just looked at.
Oh, for utilities.
Yeah, she was asking about whether we were in the red or not, and I said I don't believe
No,
so.
she asked if we were,
If we're
within
on
budget.
Oh, within budget, okay.
It's
That's a
twenty-five,
year.
it's $25,156.14 for a year, if only 300 people apply.
Right, but once it's open to everyone.
Correct. And that's the risk of where, you know, nobody was stating in general that we would have to raise rates for other people. It was just when someone brings a suggestion, you also have to bring the possibility as to what could happen, right? I mean, so nobody was stating like, oh, this is definitely gonna happen. It's just, you have to look at all sides. And so I don't think anybody was playing devil's advocate or anything. They're just stating the risks associated with creating a program.
There's unintended consequences.
Yes.
Hence, consequences on just about everything we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, on the plus side, I did look at our census data, and the median income in Hoquiam is $55,000 annually. So, it's higher than what was stated, I think, previously at one of these meetings. As in just stating that it lowered my concerns for how much of a deficit this could possibly cause, if that makes sense. So, that helped ease my mind a smidge. I mean, it's my job to be concerned and to be aware of the risks, but, it settled my nerves a little bit by doing my research.
And I know Greg had brought up too, we have a lot of large infrastructure projects that are upcoming too, dam, we brought some things up, the sewer, stormwater, we have a lot of that work to do as well.
And that's why, the watershed, I mean, that's what ultimately, like, I mean, a lot of those, like, well, city project wise, I mean, a lot of those funds are being funded by grants, but they all have matching requirements, so that's what our watershed funds are ultimately will be used for. That's why we haven't really used them. We're saving, you know, that money is our savings to help fund the North Shore Levy and North Shore Levy West projects. Because we do need to have cash on hand for that. And that's not generated from utility rates, that's generated from timber sales, just to clarify, that's not coming from rates.
Greg, any input? No?
Well, I got plenty of input, Corey, if we do this, any shortfalls, where are they gonna fall? Who are they gonna fall on? And if it falls on the city, are we gonna be able to absorb it? Without any future potential, is this something that's gonna be long-term sustaining, or is this gonna be something that we're gonna have to go year by year? If we do it for a year or two, then we cut it, where's the money gonna come from? Because we fall short somewhere else.
I mean, honestly, that's my fear, is that like, it's $25,000 for 1 year, but that's $50,000 for a biennium. I mean, like, it does all significantly add up over time, and the city does, regardless of what people think, the city does run very lean.
Everybody wants to be
So-
Superman, put on the cape,
Yeah.
jump out of the building, fly across town, but this isn't the time to do it, unfortunately.
Well, and I will say, so another thing that, and when it comes to utility rates, another significant hit that the city's gonna have is that we have a utility tax, sunset clause right now, to where it's gonna drop, and so that'll drop, the rates as well. I mean, after December 31st, which utility tax does go to the general fund, so the general fund's gonna take a significant hit on that. I'm just stating, so I mean, like, rates are gonna go down a little bit January 31st, or January 1st, once that sunset clause is up. But when it comes to the discount, I don't know how many people are gonna apply, like, I don't know how big it's an unknown, I don't know. I know that Raymond is terrified to advertise theirs, so. I don't know.
So we want to be in the same position. It's like I said, I'm not against it, I just don't think now is the time. I think we got too many good things going on, but we need to play this out a little bit further before we rush something. And then if something that we're planning on doing in the future doesn't happen, that we were hoping would happen, we're not caught, deer in the headlights or whatever. I just think we need to feed this, keep talking about it, feed it a little bit here and there. And I don't think we need to jump on it right now, I really don't. And like I said, I'm not against it, I'm just cautious with it.
The one thing that I would like to see, I know, added to the senior citizen low income discount program would be a senior low income and like a disability discount, like have the disability, so that way they can provide us, their letter from SSI or whatnot, and then, they could qualify, they could provide their income, and then they obviously would qualify for.
So is there an ongoing monitor thing we be doing with this too, or once you apply you're in?
No, you have to apply every single year. So we send out a letter every year, and then people have to reapply.
But how do we know it's foolproof if someone tells us?
We don't.
I mean,
that's
it's
the thing.
easy to
So,
say,
and
I'm only
that-
making $21,000 a year and I'm making $55,000 a year.
And
I mean,
that's-
how are we gonna check on that?
And that's where during the last meeting, that's what I was stating the risks as to like, I mean, so you open it up to senior citizens, and, senior citizens low income, the risk of how many people are applying and necessarily not being truthful on their application, we can't prove anything, like, we really can't. So, we don't know if they're providing us with their full income, they could have multiple people living at their, like, we could ask for their tax return. Well, how do we know that someone else, that they aren't, is living at the house and filing a different tax return? We don't know, there's no way for us to investigate that, we don't have the staff to do that. So ultimately, but if you open it up citywide, it allows that risk of that, of people not telling the truth and not providing the correct information, right? I mean, like, it creates that risk of people lying on applications and getting the discount. I'm kind of talking in circles.
Well, I think Raymond on their application, they kind of addressed that, there's a punishment and, there's a fine for misleading the program. But more importantly, I think the gain outweighs the risk as far as.
And that's for council to decide. I mean, it's my job to state the risk. I'm with Greg, I'm not against anything. But it is my job to state the risks and what we could potentially come across.
So a person runs the risk of perjuring themselves and getting a $500 fine to save $200 a year.
But also the city runs the risk, so you're opening the pool to the entire city of people applying, getting the discount, correct? So, one.
Yeah, if they meet certain.
Yeah, but the income requirements are advertised provide the income requirements that are, you know, I mean, obviously, like, I mean, I know that certain households have 3 incomes, but they all file separately, their tax returns or whatnot. I mean, or they, you know, they could just submit one tax return and we would have no idea. And there would be no way for us to audit them or do anything. I mean, there's no way, we don't have any authority to do anything about it. They would ultimately have to turn themselves in, and then we would have to press charges against them.
Well, that's quite a worm farm, you know, to get into. I mean,
I guess, so I will say, like, so, you know, I mean, my staff deals with our citizens on a regular basis, and the amount of times people don't tell the full truth to get a leak adjustment, or to, you know, get a fee waived, it happens every day, multiple times a day. Like, I think it would blow anyone's mind as to how often it actually does happen. So and that's to where, like, we deal with that every day, so we realize that that is an actual very large risk. Again, I'm just stating the risk, I'm not necessarily against it, I'm just.
okay, 2-minute soapbox, and then I'll let you go. These are trying times for citizens in the 4th poorest county in the state of Washington, and they're not getting any better. And I just think that, you know, we had the debacle with losing the ambulance grant, jumped everybody's utility bills up by quite a chunk. We talked about it in council. We tried to mitigate some of the pain here and there. In this, I think we're attempting to take positive action at reducing something, a burden on the most vulnerable citizens in the city. And I think that gain outweighs the potential risk, in my opinion. If I'm a minority of one, that's fine, I'll accept that, but I don't think I am.
Can I ask what grant you're referring to and what caused?
The ambulance, we lost the, not grant, but chief, we lost.
I think you're referring to the
RFA?
GEMT money.
That's it.
That's going down, it's gone down since we first got it.
Didn't look that it went down.
I think that's what you're referring to.
It was, yeah.
Okay.
Couldn't remember the acronym.
No, there's lots of them.
Just so everybody knows.
We addressed it.
Or fire alone in the fire department.
Like they were telling
Fire.
everybody.
Number or total cost or total amount?
Just the number.
I would say we probably get 4 to 5 a year. Last year was a good one because we got the $93,000 one, which altogether we probably got $130,000 last year. I would say average we probably get 50 every year of EMS and fire
On
grants.
average, there's no guarantee that we're
Yeah,
gonna
50.
get
I would say 50,000
I would say,
between ambulance and
I would say
fire.
30 to 50. Yeah.
So sometimes we get less,
Sometimes we get less, sometimes we get more.
so it's hard to make a budget on those.
100%. Yeah, yeah.
That's my point. I just don't want to get stuck on something that is good for a year or two, and then we're right back where we are now, where you can't walk down the street anymore, or someone's threatening not to come to your business because you didn't support something, or you supported something. I mean, I really think, like I said, I'm not against it, I just don't think now's the time. I just think, like Dave said, just the situation economy-wise, I can stand there in my store and look, and if the gas goes above 5 gallons, I know I'm not getting business that day. And I do $20 worth of business, and yet I still have to pay a high utility commercial water bill. Why don't I get a break? I'm employing people, I should get something back on it. It's just, I think right now, we're opening a can of worms that we don't need to open right now. And I think this is something that needs to be explored a little bit more, whether it is through a workshop. I just don't think it's ready to go forward and move forward until we dot our i's and cross our t's and feel comfortable that it is something that we can sustain long-term, comfortably, not wondering, you know, do it this year, this utility group looks awesome, and then the utility group next year's gonna, okay, how do we come up with the shortfall? like I said, it's just, we got a lot of good things coming our way, and I think if we just play it out, a good, strong economy is gonna pick us up a lot quicker and a lot faster, trying to figure out these little things like this right now. Wondering if we're gonna have the same amount of money next year, or if this grant's just gonna mysteriously disappear and then goes $120,000. Where we're gonna pick up that shortfall, we already have that money spent on something. And like I said, I just don't think it's gonna fall. We take money out, it doesn't matter if it's $1 or $100,000, it's gonna fall short somewhere, and we're gonna have to find it. And I know if we tell the taxpayers, they're gonna have to pay another $5 or $10 a month. Holy smokes, we all might as well just resign right now. But we will not hear the end of it. And I don't think, and like I said, I'm beating this horse to death. We're not in that position right now. And what we're talking about, we're not in a deficit right now. Corey's doing a great job with that, but Corey can't predict what's gonna happen next year. We just need to get a solid footing and solid foundation before we start working on this. And like I said, times are tough for everybody, not just for people making less than $21,000. I mean, over $100 to fill my truck up the other day. You know, and I'm starting to walk more. I'm not liking that. So, what's the choice?
Well, listen, I'm gonna posit a couple of things because I just can't anymore. First of all, I would posit number one, the business owner does not understand the plight of the single mom or the grandma that's on Social Security who's lived here their whole life. Those are two vastly different worlds that they live in. And no amount of, it cost me $107 to fill my wife's Volkswagen car up because it runs on diesel. I bought her diesel, that was my choice, right? That doesn't change the fact that those two people do not live the same lifestyle. Those two people do not have the same access to
Stop right there,
resources.
because I grew up very, very poor. And I grew up watching my mom try to make it month to month, so don't try to make that your point of view.
No, and that's great. I'm glad that you had a come-up story. But not everybody that lives here has been that fortunate their whole life. Not everybody's had that ability or opportunity. And the reality on the ground is people are getting crushed here by the cost of these bills. And they don't have other resources to draw extra capital from because it just doesn't exist in their lives. They don't have things that they can sell or businesses that they can leverage against to make up a shortfall on their own. $25,000, when you talk about what we spend in a year here, is a drop in the bucket. And furthermore, we're not in a position to do it now because there are things maybe potentially in the future. We could maybe potentially in the future every single year over and over and over again and say, well, none of these things that we get on a yearly basis are necessarily guaranteed, especially when we operate in the world of grants. None of those are promised regardless. We're grateful when they show up, but we have to plan like they're not going to be there. And then we utilize what we get in excess because of that. So if you're telling me that now is not the time to help the people in this town, a lot of which who have lived here most of their lives that are struggling to get by, because we might have something in the future that might not work, then when is that time?
Obviously, there is no good time. You gotta wait for a better economy. So now,
If there's no good time, I
being
wait for a
business
better
owner
time.
and go week by week wondering, God, am I gonna make it next month? When I'm just doing the privilege of owning the business, I put people to work, I'm not making anything. I'm paying out of pocket sometimes just to make sure that my kids get paid. Where do I get a break as a business owner? Where do I get a break if I'm the person making $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year? Where's that break? It's not just about the low income, it's about the community. We need to think about everybody in the community. And it doesn't matter what we say or what we do, we're gonna piss somebody off. I mean, that's all there is to it. We're in a bad situation. Because you guys vote for it and I say no, I'm the asshole. And you guys all look great. We take it to committee, nobody wants to do it.
It's not about looking great though, it's about helping people who can't afford to live in a place that they've called home their whole life. I came back here because I love this place. We went to California, in the most drought-ridden state in the United States, and my water was less everywhere I lived there, whether the town was huge or small. So a place that gets no water has the ability to provide services and running water to all those people at a cheaper rate than the rainiest climate in the continental United States.
There would be a lot of other factors into that. They may not have the same systems we do. I get what you're saying, and I appreciate your passion for it, but I think we need to get back to what it is we're trying to discuss. And we need to, it's not a good look for us.
This discount helps the people most grossly affected by the high bills that the city has. They're the people who need it the most.
So
And no
that,
amount
the way
of,
you attack makes it sound like I'm against it. I said from the beginning, I'm not against it. Now is not the time to do it.
right, but you also said in the same breath that there's never really going to be a good time, but now's not a good time because it's not a good time. So if now is not a good time because it's not good, and
You're not
never is
specifically
gonna be
saying,
good, then
well,
when do we get to that good?
We're waiting for a better time. I've never said there's never gonna be a good time.
What does that better time look like?
I don't know, but when did I say there's never gonna be a good time? Don't put words in my mouth.
So Corey, the budget is up this year. And we're starting a new budget now. You guys are working on a new budget? Or is that,
We'll start in June.
it starts in June?
So Madam Chair, do you wanna try a workshop? Do you think that the committee will go for that? Do you wanna try taking it to the council? Do you think the committee will go for that?
I would advise, bringing it up to council and seeing if council would like to discuss it during the council meeting or if they would like to hold a workshop. I think just bringing some very small sample of the council, that it sounds like a workshop is probably gonna be a good idea. But, if you want to bring it up, are you the chair? You're the chair. If you wanna bring it up, under old business, cause it's been mentioned before, and propose either setting aside some time during maybe the next council meeting to discuss it, or if people feel like it's gonna take a long time, I could propose workshop, and we could set the date for a workshop. My concern is setting up a workshop, we're going into summer,
Absolutely.
and attendance is gonna be down, it's always attendance at council.
My hope has
down
always
over the
been if
summer.
we could do it sooner rather than
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
Getting to council.
Just a reminder, if you guys take action on something, you can't take action until the next council meeting,
That's perfect.
just so you know.
Right, that's why I was saying, bring it up tonight.
No, you can't bring it up until next meeting.
Oh, it's
Oh,
a
because it's
committee
not.
versus council?
Gotcha, okay.
So typically, if a committee makes a decision on something and you wanna move something forward, you bring it to the next council meeting.
Okay. So I wouldn't even be able to propose a workshop today.
Could
No,
we-
I mean, I don't think anyone's gonna call anyone out for it, but,
Well, wait,
You couldn't do it as a committee recommendation,
Yeah.
but a council person can always make a motion.
yeah, I mean, you could throw it up under new business or something, just, you can't do it under, yeah. like
okay,
I
so
said,
we'll
under
wait till
committee.
next meeting. We bring it up, and then, based on council.
Well, you're saying we could
reaction,
bring-
I can propose a workshop.
We could bring it up tonight,
You could do it under like new business or something.
but not trying to pass a motion, but just,
Yeah, I mean, you could get feedback
Right.
and ask, and then maybe at the, I don't know, at the next meeting, then actually formally write a report.
So the process, if the committee's going to make a written recommendation, that will come out of your committee meeting tonight, and then that would have to come to the next meeting.
Yeah.
But if a council person, anytime, ever wants to bring a motion, they certainly can, it's just not from the committee.
Yeah, so it'd have to be under like new business, like from the council person, not from the committee itself.
So what if under, I guess not, under committee reports, it would be a report that she could say that a committee meeting was held?
I would do it under committee reports. I
Under
would do it under
business?
new business.
New business, okay. And, you said this is what you're talking about, and,
The reason for that is so that the recommendations from committee are written and they're provided in advance to the council members and the public with the agenda, so
agenda,
that they
right.
know what's gonna happen.
right.
But that doesn't prevent council members from bringing motions on their own for anything at any time.
Which would be under new business.
and that would be specifically put it on the agenda, or Elizabeth, what you say?
Well, you need to write a committee report, and that'll be in the next council package.
Get a new business, these meetings in the sunshine.
decide to make a recommendation, like a recommendation for a workshop, or, because council really needs to talk about it before you can recommend a specific discount plan,
Makes
right?
perfect sense, yeah.
So, okay.
Jason, do you have any questions?
No, I've just been kind of sitting back listening and stuff, and I just know that, I've had a lot of people that live around me just kind of talk about, over the last few years, about how they feel like Hoquiam's kind of becoming a retirement community. And then when the big crushing water bill happened, they're fearful that they're going to be priced out of their house. And that's just not low-income people. By these numbers, I don't quite fit into a discount, but I know that I've kind of felt that same way. And these people that are being crushed in this water bill, they don't have the ability to even say pack up and move, because there's no money to even pack up and move. So if they found a different jurisdiction with a smaller water bill, they wouldn't be able to afford to move, so they are literally stuck. So I understand how that is, but then I also see the other side where if you come up with this discount and we apply it to people, that those funds to pay for that have to come from somewhere. And I know that if they have to come from the rest of the people that make a little too much to get a discount, that are already crushed, that have no amount to say move, it's gonna make their lives even worse. So it's kind of a catch-22 no matter what you decide to do. Does that mean we shouldn't just try to do something? No, there's always opportunity to get other minds involved and other people and see, so that's kind of where I'm at with it. I just hate that there's constituents in our areas that feel like we sit here not caring, and that we sit here allowing people to be priced out of their homes. I mean, I could tell you, just from my perspective, I run a family of 5, single family income. I make enough to pay my bills, but when anything happens, I don't know where any money's gonna come from. My mom just died. I paid $3,500 to cremate her. I didn't have the savings, and now I'm in the hole. So if something like that happens, what do people do? You know, and they choose to put food on their table or pay their water bill, and that's where people are at. That's a realistic living thing. It's not a Cinderella story. It's not a Rapunzel down the hair story. It's a legit story, and it's a legit life experience of the majority of people, I think, living on that lower end of the economic scale.
Well, I've been on the council for a couple of years, and it seems like we've been beating our head up against this utility bill almost at every turn. Most of the stuff we approve, because the city does such a great job of presenting the bills that the city has to pay. I just figure, I don't know about putting on a cape, Greg, but I think that somebody at some point is going to have to address this for all the reasons stated, even the reasons you stated. And I agree with you that if not now, when? Or if not soon, when? How's that? If not soon. I heard the mayor on 3 separate occasions say that he wishes he could come up with a way to address this situation. And I would bet he's a lot smarter than I am. I just
Bet on horse, don't know.
I just think we can smart our way out of the situation on behalf of our citizens.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt to always keep your eyes open for other opportunities and keep your ears open and always push. I mean, all you can do is push yourself into a hole and push a different direction and look for a new way, you know? And I'm not against that. I'd be willing to do whatever I have to do to help.
I know that there's some really good people on the council, and I'm sure once we get this to a position where everybody's gonna have an opportunity to throw their input in, something will happen, something positive.
I mean, so if it was $25,000, we can figure that out. But again, we don't know if that's gonna be.
But if it ends up being $100,000, that's a lot of money. $200,000 per budget.
That's 1,200 people.
Then,
That will be 100% increase on the senior citizens.
if the median household income is what?
55.
55, that means half is below. So potentially half the city could apply, which is 4,000 people.
Well,
Say, how many households are there in the city?
3,300.
Okay, so potentially 1,000 families could apply. I mean, legitimately, right? And that's a lot of money. And that would need to be made up, a number that large would need to be made up, playing devil's advocate here, 1,000 families applying and not approved. Now we have to make up for that money somewhere. And is that by penalizing those who don't apply for the discount by raising their bill to make up for the shortfall? Or are we cutting funding to something else in the city to make up for that shortfall? Because we can't just take that on the chin in perpetuity.
That would be the council would need to approve how to absorb that deficit during the budget. I mean,
Which
in all-
means cutting something.
yes, in some capacity or not.
So that is also an issue. Because it's an unknown quantity of how many people, I'm not opposed to a discount, but the potential of 1,000 households applying for the discount and getting approved would be a fiscal nightmare. So,
Well, just to point out that it's a tiered system based on income, and most of the numbers, I pulled out of my pocket. So I mean, it could be less impactful
right.
on that.
I'm just playing the other side of the ballpark, you know.
Yeah, that's a scary number.
Yeah.
Median wouldn't mean that 50% of the households are below that either, just so we're clear, that would be the mean, would be the average. Median means the middlemost income made out of everybody from all the way up to the very top to the very bottom is 55.
Right.
So like, if there are people making $1 a year, right? A bunch of them, then that brings the number that would be the median way down.
Right, no, I
And,
understand, I'm just saying that, I think that generally speaking, the population of Hoquiam is lower rather than higher income, so, I don't know.
that answers something.
What do you think, Dennis?
We can go with what we discussed and bring that for workshop probably.
A kind of maybe different perspective or a way to consider this, to address some of the unknowns, might be to put out an application with the understanding to the public that when we have real numbers, then we can make better decisions. And so if we say, you know, this is what the council is considering, what we're trying to figure out with the bill, who would all apply here? Get some real numbers. Who are the people that would be eligible and are gonna actually apply? Then we say, okay, well, we had 700 households that applied. Now we have a real number, or at least closer to a real number to deal with. It might be a different option since we're otherwise pretty speculative. There are also some people that would be eligible that they just won't apply. Some people won't, or they never learn about it because how are they informed? You know, so that kind of takes some of those unknown variables out by saying, well, let's put it out there, and so long as it's clear that we don't have this program set up yet, but we need to know real numbers from the community so that we can try. Maybe that's a different way to get the biggest unknown addressed.
So just like have
Well, announce the plan, like, hey, we've been working on this for however many meetings. You've had more committee meetings this year than the last 3 years combined. And we're just coming up on halfway through the year. So, I mean, it's not something that is being taken lightly. And so if we can let the public know, hey, we're trying to figure this out. But the biggest unknown is who needs this, who's going to apply for it, and put a name to it. Like what's the person's name and where do they live and how many people will we actually have that will apply? Then we know. And if it comes back and it's like, oh, it's 150 households and we already know the names, and send them a follow-up application and say, okay, we can do it, or we can't. But otherwise, we're gonna just be guessing the whole time. And I think that's the biggest factor, is how many, not so much like how much the discount is. If we just know how many households we can actually help.
Is that something that could be printed and inserted in the?
Well, whatever the council wants to do. But I'm just thinking that maybe that could be discussed at the workshops as an option, because
That's a good
everybody's
idea, because
very
everybody's
emotional.
speculating, like, I don't know, is it gonna be 100 people or 1,000 people that impacts the city budget?
I can get a cost estimate as to how much it would be to put in sort of like that, though, like a prepaid postcard or something.
I think that might be a good idea, a good way to kind of move the discussion, because clearly on both sides of this room, unfortunately, you're sitting on opposite sides of the room. There's a lot of passion about helping people, and I can hear it from both sides. I mean, when I hear him talking about single mothers and people who are unemployed or disabled, like, I also know that I employ people like that, and that I love working with them and having them part of my work community and family. And so it means a lot to the business owner too, who's trying to, as Mr. Larson said, you take money out of your own pocket because you got to make sure that people get paid. That's the hardest thing as a small business owner. And so I think, as Mr. Smith said, everybody here cares. We just got to figure out how to make some motion one way or the other.
And you said you weren't smart.
You never said that.
A lot of other people told me that.
I really like the idea of a postcard, a free postcard sent to each utility customer, as opposed to a utility bill insert, because I think a lot of people get as far as the number on the bill and that's it, and don't read anything else that's in the envelope. I think we learned that with the RFA. There was RFA information in there, in the utility bill, and a lot of people like.
And I'm trying to come up with a couple of other avenues or ways to get information from the city to citizens that either aren't on social media, don't do email, don't open their mail. I mean, it's hard to communicate with everybody. But if we can get something like that out there, at least then we have a little bit better numbers to work with.
Yeah. Last thing we want to do is up in the budget too. I like that suggestion.
Well, I think the budget's safe. I think it's in good hands, no matter what we do. I think we'll survive if we do this, but yeah, I like where we're going. I like where we're going at this point.
We put palm trees on the postcard, so it makes people happy.
And sunshine. Smiley faces and stars.
It'll be raining today.
Yeah, right.
This is some kind of cruel joke.
Printed too cheaply and it just runs, you don't even know what it says. We used to have the palm tree.
All right, is the meeting over? We have 10 minutes before council starts, so
it over?
Yes, we're.
I have some family that my aunt is, she lost her friend, her declared a residential ranch.
And there you go, everybody.